This is the Oculus Quest 2. It was released last October by Facebook and it's currently one of the most advanced VR headsets in the world. But we're going to open it together and then we're going to take some badass photos. Let's open this thing. It's like I've got a new pair of shoes. Oh. By the way, you do not need a new Oculus headset to practice your product photography. It is nice and shiny, but later in this video I'll try to prove that you can take any old object and take good photos of it. I'm excited to try this actually. Let's take some photos. There's no real recipe when it comes to taking good product photos, but perhaps the first and most important thing is to use light. That's better. Light is your subject. This isn't just in product photography, this applies to photography in general. You want to find a good light source. Bright pixels are sharp pixels, so I'd recommend finding a window and shifting your setup as close to that window as you can get. Try to avoid direct sunlight, you want a soft covering of light. Experimenting with light is the key ingredient to getting good product photos. Move your light source around, move the product around relative to the light source. As the light hits your subject at different angles, you'll see massively different results, and especially if you have something shiny, like the Oculus, you'll find that it just looks better when the light is hitting it from certain angles. You need to find those angles and snap those pics. My second key point is lock down your camera. No one's hands are perfectly steady. Shaky hands mean blurry photos. Place your camera on a surface, use a desk, use a ladder, buy a tripod. They're super useful tools and they will make dramatic differences if you're not using them already in your product photography. If you want to take it one step further, you can use a self-timer mode on your camera so you don't even have to touch your camera as you take the photo. You may not realize it, but that slight movement when you're taking the photo has a significant impact on the final results. My final point is to use backgrounds wisely. A particularly safe and reliable approach is to just grab a roll of white paper, lay it out and use that as your background. Then nothing is distracting from the subject of the photo, the product. However, sometimes the product needs some complementary visuals to really make it shine. You'll often see this in food photography. The environment and the context of the photo can be just as important as the subject itself. So I suppose those are my 3 tips when it comes to product photography. Treat light as your subject, lock down your camera, and use your background wisely. Without further ado, let's jump in to taking some photos of the Oculus Quest. I'm setting up a second light just to experiment a bit. I think that went fairly well. I'm excited to see the results. I need to tweak them a little bit in Lightroom and Photoshop. I will show you them in a minute. However, it's Good Friday, happy Easter. I need to pack a bag and rush home to see my family. I promised that I'd prove to you that you don't need a fancy product and you certainly don't need a fully fleshed studio to take high quality product photos. And to prove that, I know just the place. Look, baby Rick. I think that was kind of cute. So, this is my parents' attic, loft and general dumping ground. The reason I'm here is to find some interesting objects that aren't brand new Oculus Quest 2 fresh out of the box. I want to prove to you that you can use pretty much any item and practice taking high quality product photos. Also, I'm nostalgic and love rummaging through old stuff. So let's see what we can find. How cool is this little chest I found? Damn, that is a worn coin. 1871. I also got these old school records, actually for a gramophone. I got this fantastic old Bourneville box. It's falling apart and it's empty, but I reckon we could use it in some way. And what I think is going to be the star of the show, I got this little beard and mustache wax. So first things first, let's get the light right. As you can see, I'm currently sat underneath a window. That's what we're going to be using as our light source. Today there are a few clouds in the sky, so we're going to wait until the sun passes behind a cloud, and then we're going to take our photos with that soft light. If you don't have a table, use a box. So we've got our box. Next step is to use a tripod to lock down the camera, and finally we want to set up our background. I'm hopeful that I've picked out objects with textures, colours and aesthetics that complement each other, and therefore I can show you that you can use your background to make the object that you're trying to focus on really shine. We're all done with taking the photos. I've gone away, brought them into Adobe Lightroom, made some very basic edits. I've increased the contrast a touch, straightened them and cropped them where necessary, and for two of them I've used a basic masking technique in Photoshop, yet for two very different purposes. First things first, mustache wax. As I'd hoped, the colours and the textures of the other objects complement the wax itself. You get the rustic, pirate vibe. I think the framing's good here, and to achieve that, hold the item in place with your hand. You take one photo, then you move your hand away and take another photo. You combine those photos in Photoshop to remove your hand, and voila, you have a perfectly positioned product. All in all, considering this was taken on a cardboard box with no studio lighting, I think the result turned out quite well, and it required very minimal effort, except for driving to my parents' house to collect a load of random objects. Okay, next we have the big dog, the Oculus Quest 2. Not too bad, it's super clean. I love the effect of the mood lamp. For this one in particular, again, I used the masking technique in Photoshop to extend the white background. Finally, I got a couple more photos of the Oculus focusing on smaller details. So that concludes this video. I hope you learned some things. If you did, then feel free to drop me a like, it's always appreciated. If you have any questions, then please let me know in the comments. And of course, if you want to see more of this kind of content, then subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, stay chill, and I'll see you in the next one.